Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're going well. Good to see everyone in the chat after a long extended break. Well, not a break for us normal people, but a break for the F1. It was good to just take a break. I did a bit of karting. I'm not sure if you guys saw on my Instagram story, I put up a video of me just doing a few laps in the KZ. The first time I've been out here in Perth, and it was a blast. A lot to get through in this live stream. It's going to be very technical. I'm not going to spend heaps of time on the mentality. You guys know my standpoint. If someone said to me, your opponent is going to take a 3-week holiday, what do you do? A, take a 3-week holiday also, or B, use that time to get ahead and potentially move forward in some area, physical, mental, technical, tactical. I'm taking option B each and every single time. You guys know me. It's like, if there's ever a chance to move forward, bang, I want to take it. Particularly if my name's Oscar Piastri or Lando Norris fighting for a Formula One World Championship, then, for sure I'm taking it. So that's my standpoint on the mentality side. But I am going to give you a little bit of a key approach for the drivers this weekend, some of the things they might be thinking and focusing on. Who we got in the chat? Sorry, Divinason, hello. I'll bring up a few comments now. Steven Sabina, low lap time was a crazy match. His crash out was insane. We need prime Medvedev back. So yeah, we got the US Open and F1 on this weekend. I am going to talk to Roger Federer again in this video, because I'm going to talk about how Roger turned one of his weaknesses into a strength. And I think, no, not think at this point. I know Max has a weakness and he'll want to do something very similar. Let's have a look at the weather. I'll just bring your comment down because there's a little bit of showers, a little bit of activity going on. And I've done my best to get a nice new weather channel for you guys as well. So let's have a look at that together now. So this is what we're looking at in Netherlands. Showers. Now, I like to pay attention to this number, the precipitation that we're expected to get, because rain or not rain or bit rainy or heavy rain doesn't mean much. Like, I want it quantified. So how much are we expecting? 6, 6, and 6. That's today, tomorrow, and Saturday. That's practice and quali. And only 1.9 due for Sunday. So that's probably going to be dry. Now, interesting as well, have a look at where these are. And I'm going to show you a mad graph in a second as well. Friday afternoon and then Saturday morning. So it looks like overnight rain if you didn't have any more information than that. But check this out. This is really cool. I get this as well. So this shows me when that 6 mil is going to be delivered, which is awesome. So you've got here early Friday morning and then Friday evening and afternoon. So come 5 p.m. on Friday, I think that'll be towards the end of practice or after the practice session. Then we're going to get some rain, and that's this blue graph here, and I'll just zoom in for you guys so that you can see it. And then sleepy time Friday, wake up Saturday morning in the early hours of the AM, there's been overnight rain and it's sunny again. So it looks at this stage that the showers are going to miss the sessions, particularly the paid sessions being qualifying in the race. But showers are showers, they can come in, can be heavy for a moment and then dry up. It'll be interesting to see, therefore, what happens, because if rain is on the way in Netherlands, long corners are constant radius, heaps of short corner action, heaps of searching for grip. Yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about, but I don't think based on that, that's going to be like a largely wet weekend. Yeah, big agenda, like I say, so I'm going to move through fairly quickly. If you have a super chat, whack it in the comment section in the chat box for me. Hopefully I see it. If someone else puts a super chat, let me know as well. Like, say, hey Martin, you missed the super chat, because then I'll see it as well. Otherwise, we've got time for questions at the end of the live stream in about an hour's time. Okay, so the key drivers approach for this weekend. I think Oscar Piastri, right? So you've got the championship fight happening, and I think Oscar's been gypped a little bit twice on strategy. I say gypped in the best sense of the word. Oscar's still responsible for his strategy as well. I think he needs to take the race operations a little bit more into his own hands. I say all that off the back of 2 strategy calls that weren't the best ones. In Spa, managed to get the win, but I don't think it was on the favorable strategy. Remember, he pitted onto the medium and then went like 3/4 of the race on the medium. And I think if Lando just had dotted his I's and crossed his T's in that final stint, he would have been attacking Oscar. So I think that was the first one. And then secondly, obviously in Hungary, the 2-stop was the bad call as well. So for Oscar, the homework would have been in the break, like, how can I take more responsibility and be in control a little bit more and just do a little bit more work on the strategy side? Because everything else seems to be there fairly well. I mean, his mentality is excellent. His focus is excellent. His lap time has been good, solid recently as well. But it seems like on the tactical side, the strategies let him down a little bit. You know, it's not always the team, it's both, right? It's team and driver come together to make these calls. So if I was Oscar, I'd be like, yeah, a little bit more prep there. Like, what was last year? What was this year? What tires do we have? Things similar that we're going to do in this live stream, but, you know, deeper and deeper, looking at temperatures and asphalt surfaces and trying to understand the overtaking delta and like just do a little bit more prep there so that these things don't happen back to back. So that's Oscar. Have a look at this video, guys. I'm not sure if you saw after qualifying Lewis Hamilton crying in Hungary. Well, I can only infer crying. I'll bring it up now on the screen for you guys. But you guys tell me what's going on here. Do you think this is Lewis crying? Have a look at this. Someone's taken this on their phone, presumably. And yeah, you don't often see Lewis with the towel in his eyes and the helmet on for that long. He's walking back with Angela. I'm going to talk a little bit about why the physical side is a waste of time as well. Hopefully Angela's helping in some other areas more than physical. But this is, what do you guys make of this? I mean, I just saw it and I'm like, there's Lewis in the red overalls, the 7-time champion, Hungary, one of his most successful tracks, brought to tears, presumably after qualifying. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know how to decompose that any more than that. It's just crazy to see that this is where we're at. So obviously a lot of work needs to be done. Again, the break and the off season, and these are all little opportunities where if you're behind, you've got to do some work. Now, if you're Max Verstappen and you've got your 4 titles recently and you're nowhere in this championship and you don't have too much work to do, all right, fine, go jump on a jet ski, no problem. But for Lewis, hopefully he did a little bit of work in the summer break. I wanted to talk about Lando's front end as well. The context is as follows. Lando's been struggling with the entry of the MCL39 into the high speed. When he turns his hands, the back lets go. It happened in Bahrain. We saw it in Jeddah. We saw it in Spain. We've seen it pretty much all through this new car and Lando. I've been saying Lando's hands are a little bit too quick. The steering rate is too quick. And then it upsets the rear of the car and needs to just slow that down. Anyway, they brought a new front suspension for Lando a couple of races ago, or maybe a few now, back in Canada. Oscar didn't take it. Lando did. It was meant to help with the feel. I'm not sure feel was the right approach. I've been more looking at rate of steering. But nevertheless, I said last time out, Hungary is going to be the test for this, because Hungary, with all its long corners and the front end being key in long corners, you know, that's going to be the test. As it turned out, Oscar out-qualified Lando, so that doesn't seem to have done him like the world of good. But you've got to look into a little bit further, because I want to show you guys the telemetry and have a look at the corners where Lando was gaining back on Oscar. It's all in the long corners. So really interesting, and we got heaps of long corners here this weekend in Netherlands. Let me show it to you guys now. It'll be this. So this is their qualifying laps. Piastri with the 15.3, Norris with the 15.4, Norris in orange, by the way. Sorry, I'll just zoom out so you guys can see that. And have a look at this. I'm particularly interested in the last 2 corners, because that's the long corners of constant radius, the direction change at slow speed. That's the front end. And when we're talking about corners that speak about the front end, divination, I can't even remember what happened last race. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes you guys write some good things that catch my eye. When we're talking about front end and Lando Norris and feel and whether or not this thing has worked or not, have a look at this. He's munched Oscar in the final 2 corners. He was going into the final corner with a deficit of 1.5 tenths, and then it crept up a little bit during the entry phase of that turn 13, I want to say. But then it all comes back in Lando's favor through the final 2 corners. Now we know that Oscar didn't do a good final corner. I'll start to refresh you guys' memory. Because of that wide entry line that he took, I'll show it to you guys now. And we said the tight line was the play. I think that was the correct way to go. So have a look at this. This was Oscar through the final corner. This is part of the reason why he lost lap time to Lando, but also why he lost lap time to Charles. Remember, when it's a direction change at slow speed into a long corner of constant radius and track width is big, bang, that's when you want to use the tight line in those situations, right? And I think Oscar didn't do himself any favors here by going to the edge of the track, trying to carry the most speed into the final corner. He got undone. So here in this picture, I want to show you guys the difference in entry lines. That's as far as Charles got to the left-hand side of the track. And then Oscar got all the way across. And then if I go next shot, have a look at the moment that Oscar gets in the middle of this corner, just loading up the rear too much. And Charles didn't have that problem. Bang, he sneaks past here and takes pole. Presumably this is where Lando took pole as well. This is going to be important this weekend in turns 9 and 10 as well. I'm going to show it to you guys. We're going to talk to it. So yeah, I think that's where, that's some of the things that the drivers need to do. I think Oscar, Lando, the front end, the tight lines, the long corners, it's all going to be happening this weekend. Let's start to talk a little bit about some updates for this weekend. There's two main ones that I've noted. Well, one for sure, one possible. The first one that I've noted, so we're in the track car regs update section. The track speed limit has been upgraded from 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. So they're trying to promote more pit stops by saying, hey, if you come and visit the pit lane, you can go down 80 instead of 60. So it's less of a time cost. I still don't think that's going to be big personally, because it's not about time. It's about track position. As you saw in Hungary, fastest race time, if it means that you're going to be stuck behind cars at any point, it's not worth it. Track position is key, particularly when you've got long corners and direction change, as we have in these tracks. Hungary and Netherlands are like best friends when it comes to long corners, short straights, so I think the 60 to 80 thing won't be a big deal. Anyway, that's a track update. And a car update, apparently there's a new floor for the Ferrari. So they're playing around with the back of the car quite a lot. So we'll see what impact that has. I'm not sure if that's a true upgrade. I mean, I was doing a bit of research today and it said, yeah, Ferrari have bought a new floor, trying to do some work with the airflow over the rear suspension, the new rear suspension, trying to get more rear grip for Lewis and all this stuff. I don't know, you guys can confirm or deny that one in the chat and let me know. But that's a track update with the speed limit, impact on strategy, and that's a car update for Ferrari as well. Now we're going to get into the technical meat and bones of this track. I'm going to start to talk to it now. Let's do a quick refresher on the 4 techniques that you can use in long corners of constant radius. And I need to refresh myself, so I'm going to bring it up here because it's been a while since I've spoke to this. But essentially, you got short corner, tight line, early turn in, and geometric. There you go. So let's have a look and bring it up here. So this was the second last corner in Hungary, and I just used this, guys, to just tell you what your options are. You've got a geometric line, which is just a very conventional racing line. You come to the edge of the track. I'll make that bigger. Give me a sec. You come to the edge of the track over here. It's very uniform throughout its shape all through here. The steering is very consistent, very constant. And yeah, the problem that Rob Wilson had with this is that the corner goes on for too long. It starts here and it ends here. And it's, in a way, it's a long time cornering. So then that's where Rob kind of started to talk about the short corner, which I'll come over here. And it's where you start the cornering here, but you end it over here. So you turn. Once the car's rotated and square, bang, you can unwind the steering and just drive out straight. So your short cornering period is here. It's called Ving in a way, and it's good in the wet, and Max does this a lot. But if I just go back a few steps and just, again, highlight to you, that section there is killer for your front tires because you're coming in with a lot of entry speed doing that. You're dragging the outside front through that phase of the corner. Then when you go to accelerate, you do so from a lower minimum speed, V-min down here, and then you've got no downforce either, which is why sometimes you see Max, he actually spun on this corner on the exit, if you remember in 2022, I want to say. So that's the short corner. It's another option. Again, I'm not saying which is better and worse. You just need to know when to play which shot. When do you do a drop shot or a volley or move forward or play a slice? Same sort of thing, right? You just got to know these are your options and repertoire. F1 drivers don't look at it in this way, unfortunately. They pretty much just have one and they stick to it. They're not as adaptive and as malleable, as open-minded as I think I'd like them to be. Next option is early turn-in, similar to the geometric. So, whoops, I don't want to do that. Similar to the geometric, you come out to the far right-hand side of the track here, that's fine. But you dive in a little bit earlier. If you have a look at the turn-in points, the early turn-in is slightly earlier and the geometric is slightly later. This just means this is what Lewis does. He combines a lot. It means you're going to get to this point first because you've dived in. Brake, combine, steer, brake late and hard and deep into the corner, combine it with the steering, and that means you're going to enter super quick. You get to that point there. Whatever happens at that point happens. You know, you get your mid-corner slides. It's very hard to get the car straight and on throttle. You know, it's just an all-in approach. But anyway, that's the way Lewis drives. And then you've got the tight line, which you'll know about if we've been speaking about on this channel. It's really interesting, really unique. It means that you're not going to find this entry position on the far right. You're leaving about a car's width. You're kind of mid-track or three-quarter track, depending on the track width. And then the car's nice and straight and square, and you just go in from there and even combine it with a little short corner from there. Such a really powerful technique. This is the one that Charles used in the final corner to get pole position in Hungary. So one corner after this picture, I'll show you guys. Not finding that extra track width on entry here means that Charles had a lot more compliant car on turn-in and had no problems in the mid-corner. That's the tight line. This is as far as Charles got to. Now, in his case, it's about half a car width inside. You can see, yeah, Oscar's steering wheel and straight through the middle of Charles's tire. So Charles is half a car width tight line, but you can go full car width, you can go mid-track. It depends on how much width you've got to play with and how, just how close the corners are together as well. So I wanted to give you guys an overview of the forward driving techniques in the long corners because we're going to start to have a look at them now together in Netherlands. And I'm going to talk to like what options you'll have and how you might want to start to approach some of these corners. So let's have a look. Like I said before, Netherlands and Hungaroring are like best friends. They're siblings, pretty much, brother and sister. So let's have a look what we got. This is mad, eh? Full track. Let's have a look. So long corners of constant radius. Turn 1, long corner of constant radius. Turn 3, long corner of constant radius. A decreasing radius into turn 9. That's another long corner, but it's not constant radius like Hungary. Still long corner. Into turn 10, decreasing radius. Turn 12 is your another constant radius. Sorry, these are all constant. Constant radius, constant. And then you're increasing onto the straight as well. So yeah, a lot of aero wash traction issues here. So there's 6 long corners, guys. Now, when we talk about long corners, we're going to talk about Max's front grip issues as well. And yeah, I'm going to try to explain why I think that it's not necessarily all due down to the Red Bull. Due to the Red Bull, it's also in part due to Max's driving technique as well. My eyes this weekend, just for your information, are going to be on this section of track. Turns 9 and 10, the decreasing radius that feeds you straight into the constant radius. This is a perfect candidate for the tight line. You know, Charles, if Lewis decides to play it, they'll smash it into this section of racetrack because, again, like what I said before in Hungary, changing direction, which means, you know, turning right and then turning left at slow speed, you know, you're between 120 kilometer apex and 125 kilometer apex, changing direction at slow speed, significant track width. So that's your track width across here. And yeah, asking the car to perform too much. I think Max is guilty of this. And I think this is the whole situation where Max runs out of front tires because Max does the whole short corner thing and Lando, Charles, maybe they're going to drive this corner differently. Again, this is moving around a lot. Max is still driving the way he's driving, but a lot of the drivers are playing around with this as well, particularly Charles, Lando, Oscar, they're playing around with this as well. We got a good shot into the turn 12. Let me bring that up because that's really good context for this one. Give me a sec. I'll try to find it. It was the turn 12 Spain race, and we got a really good shot of the different lines that the guys were taking into Spain's constant radius, long corner of constant radius. So let me see what I have for you guys if I can find it. Bang, I found it. Here it is. Have a look at this. So I'll go back. So this is lap 7, and this is race leader Oscar Piastri. Now, Remember everything we said about short corners, tight lines, geometric, and early turn in. Have a look at this. So this is Oscar. And you're looking at how much gap he's leaving to the curb, whether or not he's planning to absorb that later, or he's already at the apex, or he's going out wider doing the short corner. You see a lot of the rubber marks out here as well. So just use this as your reference, right? Oscar's kind of not here nor there. It's not like a super short corner. It's not a geometric. It's not early turn-in. It's just like a short corner, but not that short. Let me draw that out for you so that it makes sense, because there's length, like, you know, there's short corners and short corners, right? So if you go like this, like that, that's a short corner, fine. But I'm going to exaggerate for you. A very short corner is like that, because rotation gets condensed even more. So you can still do a short corner, just depending to what extent. So this is Oscar. Yeah, nice technique. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this sort of thing. He's kind of just mid-track. Let's have a look at this from Max Verstappen. You see that? A little bit wider. So that's even shorter than Oscar. So that's Max doing short corner. He's trying to V the corner off as much as possible. If I go back to my whiteboard, it's like Oscar's the green and Max is the red. Go again. Lando Norris. You notice that as we go down the grid, they're driving more and more short corners. Lando's so far out here, it's almost a wet line. That's rubbish, quite frankly, from Lando. Let's have a look at the Ferrari drivers as they slide into shot. Have a look at this. This is Lewis first. Similar to Oscar, I must say. It's not as short as Lando or Max. It's kind of more towards Oscar. And this is Leclerc. Have a look at this. Staying as close as possible and hugging the curb the whole way around. So that's something more early turn in geometric. Let's have a look at this as the Ferrari drivers slide into shot the next lap on lap 8. You see Lewis out a little bit wider doing the whole short corner thing. Lewis can rotate the car much quicker, get the steering wheel straight and go for it. Have a look at Charles's line. Like totally different, totally like avoids the dirty air from Lewis, gets to the apex first, shorter meters, less distance, like really nice. And I've loved the way Charles has been driving this year as well. This is Max, and this is the problem. You see that, guys? That's the problem with Max. As he tries to do this whole short corner thing, go out wider, V, square the car off, the front says, are you kidding? Like, I can't deal with that much speed, like into the corner. And then when the speed drops out of the car, because that's what happens with the short corner technique, he goes for the throttle. Watch the steering wheel. No, it's not on this one, but it'll be on the other one. He gets his snaps. That's a really short corner from Lando. He gets his snaps towards the exit. I want to try to find it for you guys. Yeah, this is Lando doing more short corners. I'll try to find it for you guys. Give me a sec. It'll be this one. All the short corner drivers, like this was Colapinto, having those wobbles and slides on the exit that you would never see from like Leclerc, for example, or Oscar, for example, because they're not asking so much for the car to accelerate from slow speed. So let me try to find the Max one. Yeah, that's Lawson. Great. Who's this? Carlos Sainz. None of these guys are hitting apexes, eh? Here's the Max one. Have a look at this. So yeah, out wide, does this whole short corner thing. As he goes for the throttle, gets the rear slide in the middle, just on the exit there, and then has to run wide. And that's classic of Max's style. So yeah, I've said for a while that I think Max has a weakness in these types of corners. No one really, I don't know, you guys follow me because you're here on the live streams, but particularly on social media, no one really, it's short form content, so no one really gets it. But I think explained in this format, it would be, yeah, how can you deny the evidence that you see before you? So as we go back to the track map, like I say, I think my eyes are here on these particular corners, 9 and 10. I want to see how Max approaches turn 10 and if he's learnt anything from it. Let me just talk about Max's strengths for a second as well, because like the whole Chris Harris video, right? You know, you guys know my philosophy. I don't think Max does anything out of this world, godly feel or, you know, internal gyroscope. I don't believe he's super talented or anything. I think Max is extremely dedicated, extremely focused on his profession. He's a driver, like he drives for a living and lives to drive. That's clear. And I think when you do it that often with the friends, after work, after hours, you stay back, you study, you're into it, you're obsessed with it. I think the separation gap, I think that is the secret source of Max. And that's common with all the greats, right? That's what Nico did to get his world championship, but that's what Michael did through his whole career. That's what Senna did as well. Everyone says Ayrton was super talented, but they forget how much work and how into the detail Ayrton actually was as well. So I think that's one of Max's biggest strengths. Now, I always say on this channel, like, out of the 4 areas of driver preparation, physical, mental, technical, and tactical, I always say physical is like, don't waste too much time getting your heart rate down, having the right blood sugar, the right level of hydration, this and that, because once you get to a point, there's no more lap time in that. You can be the world's fittest, like triathlete, whatever. It's not going to make you go any quicker around turns 9 and 10 in Netherlands. Yeah, maybe over a race distance, there's some merit there, but more often than not, it's going to be down to your technique. It's going to be down to your mindset as well. So I think like with Max, one of his strengths is that he's just super focused, and like lower lap time suits Max extremely well. If it doesn't contribute to lower lap time, Max is not interested. And I think that's the way the drivers should be. In a world where there's so many distractions, and I put the physical side down to that because it's social media, look at me training, look at how strong I am, how many push-ups I can do, look at my heart rate super low, and none of that contributes to lower lap time, and Max knows that. That's one of Max's strengths. Let me show you guys a clip now from his old trainer, Bradley Scanes, who talks about this now.
And F1's always an interesting sport because there's a certain level of fitness you can get to. By going above that level of fitness, it won't gain you lap time. You're not going to get quicker. But if you drop below that level of fitness, you know, your cognitive function.
So there's like a sweet spot.
Yeah, Max knew it very well. Because once we hit that, he didn't want to go any further.
Super interesting, guys. So that's Bradley, who's the physical coach, openly admitting, like physical and mental, I want to say, he's not technical or tactical, openly admitting that there's a ceiling to, you know, how much, well, there you go. I'll bring up your question, Stephen. Bradley's openly admitting like how much, like there's no extra performance to be gained. And this is why I was really disappointed in the Chris Harris video, because Chris, God bless him, he's there thinking like, what's Max do behind the wheel? What's his secret? Why is he so quick? Forgetting that it's as much about, like for champions, it's as much about what they don't do as it is what they actually do. So why don't we start with the easy one? Why don't we start with what they don't do? Why don't we start with all the stuff they avoid, all the interviews, extracurricular, the sponsors, the media, the social media, extra time in the gym, blah, blah, blah. Bradley's there saying, look, when Max got to the point where he could drive and was physically fit, that's it. He wants to move on and explore other avenues. So that's one of Max's strengths, which is great. That means like the separation that he's going to get in terms of being technically excellent is, yeah, big, because no one else is doing that. They're not focused. You saw the guys on social media the past 3 weeks. They're on jet skis playing golf, etc. So I think that's one of Max's biggest strengths. Now, when it comes to talk about Max's weaknesses, well, I said it for a while, and I'll bring up the video that I said
since
before.
2023, I've been able to identify and confidently put my finger on 2 weaknesses, which are number one, the mistakes that could potentially be drawn out of Max Verstappen when he gets frustrated and or emotional and or impatient. That's the first weakness that I've seen crop up in his driving. The other, and that's on the mental side. The other weakness that I've seen is on the technical side, and it's got to do with the lines that he takes in certain types of corners and how he looks after his front tires. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So number one, on the mental side, the points that could be drawn out of Max when he gets frustrated and emotional. You guys saw that in Spain this year. It was running, whatever it was running, P4, P5, ended up getting P9. That's just because he lost his head. That's a weakness. I think George tries to play around with that weakness. I've documented that a lot on this channel. That's fine. And then you've got the technical weakness in the long corners. Now, at this point, Max, I don't think, was aware of this,
but I'm going to run through example after example after example after example. I'm going to play with this topic with you guys a little bit. But before I do, I just want to tell a quick story about Roger Federer and how he overcame one of his biggest weaknesses. And he actually managed to turn it into a strength. So one of Roger's biggest weaknesses, particularly when he was playing against Rafael Nadal, was Rafa's left-handed. He'd put this big, heavy topspin into the court and towards Roger's backhand. And Roger had the one-handed backhand, so it's actually hard to get up high because Rafa's got this big, heavy top-spinning forehand. It's hard for Roger's one-handed to get up high enough to meet the ball in this with his one-handed backhand, playing with Rafa and this heavy topspin. That was Roger's weakness, and Rafa just kept exploiting that weakness until Roger said, you know what, I've had enough. So he had the knee surgery in 2016 and he had a break, and in that break he began to like reflect a little bit more. While his knee was recovering, he was also working technically. And then he came out in 2017 and was an absolute machine. He hired a few coaches. He worked very hard on that particular situation. The heavy top spinning shot from Rafa into Roger's one-handed backhand. He worked on that situation and found a solution to start to move into the court, take the ball earlier, take the time away from Rafa, and just improved his backhand massively. This was a weakness of Roger's that he identified and then fixed, and then became a weapon, like became a strength. I'll bring up a video of you guys now. Have a look at this. Have a look at this backhand from Roger.
And that was excellent footwork there from Federer.
Well, if his movement is depleted by that right quad, he's showing plenty of guts right now.
This ball. It's that big one into Roger's backhand there. Now Roger works it out. Look at that, guys. Come on. That was a weakness. There's Roger's coach on the right-hand side. This was a weakness of Roger, can you believe it?
That says a lot about what Roger needs to do and what he seems willing to do, which is a good sign because he had to really do that the hard way.
Now this video is something like 35 minutes of this sort of demolition. Mate,
Let him win that one.
what's that?
What a shot.
What's that, brother? Come on.
Big Federer fist pump to his group, which is just off his left shoulder. Another break opportunity.
Let me show you guys one more example. See how many backhands Roger's hitting?
Missed it. Federer breaks back.
A lot. Now I say all that to say, like, I would love for Max the same story to happen with Max. I would love for him to recognize the long corner of constant radius as a weakness, bang, work on that, and then start to play tight lines. Imagine that Max would be a machine. Divination, on your question caught my eye. I just want to bring it up here. Honestly, I have to disagree. I think Max is also uncommonly talented, and unmatched hard work and passion brings out the best in his talent. The two can be true at the same time. Yeah, absolutely. Max is talented, yes, but talent is where you start, and then the hard work is where you finish. So in a way, the starting point is, if you work hard enough, you can overcome any starting point. Like Nico Rosberg's your example, right? I'm not saying Max is not talented. Like, don't stretch my definition that far. Yeah, Max is talented, but that's not the reason he's the 4-time world champion. He's obsessed with the sport. Barbara, Federer plays golf with Nadal, and Federer plays golf with Nadal. I know, I've seen the two playing golf on social media. Now that they're retired, and Nadal plays golf with Carlos Sainz, therefore, by transition, Sainz will win Sandport. Just joking. Yeah, I've seen them play golf as well. Roger's got an amazing swing as well, but that's the sort of thing you can do when you're retired. But then you want a backhand like that, you've got to work for it. All right, so now is going to come the evidence, right? Have a look at this. Have a look at this. This is really interesting. I've played it before on my social media, but I'll play it again. It's essentially one of Max's sim drivers starting to talk to Max about how to drive, Max being a little bit stubborn as well. Have a listen to this, and there's going to be a lot of evidence coming your way. So maybe don't pay too much attention to the chat. Have a listen to some of these videos, and it'll be like, wow.
Oh, wait. No. Max. You have to cut on the inside. You have to like go super tight in. Yeah. And like, but don't go fully to the outside. Like, it's more like a V shape. It's like a center. It's a V shape.
So I'll just pause it there.
This little.
That guy Gianni goes, don't go fully to the outside. Have a listen to this.
Max. You have to cut on the inside. You have to like go super tight in.
He goes, you have to go super tight in. This Gianni guy's onto something here. You have to go super tight in. You can see the words on the screen.
Go super tight in, yeah. And like, but don't go fully to the outside.
Don't go fully to the outside. Now, I think that because Gianni is just this sim guy, sim mate of Max, Max is like, yeah, whatever. But, mate, Gianni's all over this.
It's more like a V shape. It's like a center. It's a V shape. This little slide. The thing is, he knows he's good. He knows that. The reason for sometimes that we have to tell him twice or 3 times is because he just expects that he has the better idea in that moment. Takes 3-4 tries, and then he's like, maybe you guys are right.
Well, it depends, of course, on if it's the right feedback or not, according to me.
Wow, that's massive what Max just said at the end, right? It depends on whether or not it's the right feedback according to me. So here's my insight from that video. Gianni's spot on. The tight line, everything's the play. And by the way, do you want to know what corner that he was recommending him this in? Let me bring it back.
Oh, wait. No. Max. You have to cut on the inside. You have to like go super tight in, yeah. And like, but don't go fully to the outside. Like, it's more like a V shape. It's like a center. You know what track and corner that is? Write it in the chat if you guys know what track and corner that is. I know it's not big, but I'll play it again. I'll go back. It's more like a V shape.
It's left-hander.
Center.
Opens up on the exit.
It's a V shape.
DRS. And he got a bad exit. He's not happy. Write to me in the chat what corner you think that is.
This little slide. The thing is, he knows he's good. He knows that. The reason for sometimes that we have to tell him twice or 3 times is because he just expects that he has the better idea in that moment. Takes 3-4 tries, and then he's like, maybe you guys are right.
Well, it depends, of course, on if it's the right feedback or not, according to me.
Now, the other thing there, like, depends on whether or not it's the right feedback according to me. Max is kind of saying like, these guys and their games, I kind of, Max is not fully, if it come from like, no, it's not, guys are Zenboard already. So yeah, I don't know if Max is giving it the appropriate respect, right? So that's kind of, let me show you guys another video now, and then I'll tell you guys if anyone guessed it correctly. This is Max and Gianni.
You're so stupid. It's unbelievable how stupid you are. So much. Now you damaged the car. The apex. Fucking focus, man. You damaged the car.
I didn't.
You did.
Same guys. This is Gianni and Max.
That year, if I remember correctly.
I think, if he could race as he talks, I think he would win by 1 lap ahead of everyone else.
My God, man.
It's not. There's nothing. I don't know what you're on about.
It's your fault that you hit that car because you're just not focused.
Relax.
No, I mean, he's a great guy. He's good, sometimes a little bit dramatic, but that's okay. We can deal with that. And he's always done great whenever we really needed him to do well. And that's, I think, also a quality, that we're looking for in a driver.
I love that from Max because it shows, I think, in a way, how good their friendship is, but how little respect he had for Gianni's opinion. So I think sometimes life gives you a little, like I'm talking now about Gianni's advice in that corner. By the way, Nathan, you were the first one to get it. It's turn 10. I'll go over to the whiteboard. And it's exactly what we got highlighted where we're saying Max is going to struggle with front tire life in this type of corner. You're watching the evidence of it
in the sim as well. Sometimes life gives you like a little bit of a, hey, maybe you want to pay a little bit more attention. Like, what's the chance they would be in the sim on Netherlands, turn 10, and that sort of thing would crop up. Anyway, mate, it's super insightful, super interesting. And you'll notice that Gianni said like Max is a little bit stubborn sometimes, doesn't fully take it in, or is not willing to take it in. But then I think Max will go back and reflect and maybe take it in. In this particular case, he hasn't taken it in because we still see the same lines and the same front tire issues. Have a listen to GP on Max.
Max's limitation is stubbornness. He knows best, and that is an engineering challenge to try and get yourself under his skin and into his head. I've come to accept that even if at the time he refuses to take in your recommendation, actually he is absorbing it like a sponge, and he won't admit it, but he will then go and do what you've asked.
Max's biggest limitation is his stubbornness. Wow, that's coming from GP. And that's an engineering limitation, difficult to work with in a sense. So we're starting to get somewhere now. I feel like, you know, everything I've been saying since 2024, the weaknesses, they're starting to show up on the sim. GP's now starting to say similar things. And then all I'm seeing is, you know, this sort of stuff. I'll show you guys now. All I'm seeing is this sort of thing, like slow speed direction change into long corners, you know, Max struggling, not meeting apexes. Have a look at this. Doesn't meet with the apex. This is in Silverstone. At all, guys. Like, it's like the front, and then comes on the radio and says, yeah, the front's not turning. And everyone's like, well, because Max is God, then, you know, must be the Red Bull. Have a look at this. This is the same aerial shot that I showed you guys in Silverstone. Not hitting apexes at all. I think just due to, again, like, you guys remember what I said, right? So I'll go back for a sec. I'll pause it here. You guys remember what I said about slow speed, direction change, significant track width, aero not significantly active, lazy front end. This is a case for the tight line, and we saw this that weekend in Silverstone with Charles and Lewis. Max here going to the edge of the track, trying to sweep in. The front tire is saying, no thanks. And it's like, yeah, this is one of the only weaknesses I know of when it comes to Max. Now, the reason this is important, this is where we're going this weekend. So you've got to keep an eye out for that. Have a listen to Max's radio as well. Last weekend in Hungary. Have a listen to this.
My tires is fall apart.
And flap update winning campaign, Max.
Yeah, that's fine. I just kind of there's a boost, but I looked up. My front tires is completely shot.
Okay, understood. Should we have a look at a rearward peak, do you think?
Front tires.
Good try.
Okay, V-Bell 3, Max. Yeah, let's have a look at that. V-Bell 3. Can I have a front flap update regardless, please, Max? Front flap update.
We're budget up.
Sorry, radio was poor. Repeat once more.
We're budget up.
Yes, yeah, we do.
How much?
4 clicks.
Yeah, I would take that, I think.
Okay.
All the look is so terrible.
Wow, guys, big dramas in Hungary over the airwaves. That was 3 weekends ago this year in Hungary. GP saying, do you want more front wing? And Max saying, how much can we go up? And GP says, we can go up 4 clicks. And Max says, I'll take the whole thing. Thank you very much. Struggling with front end grip. Said, my front tires just shunt. GP offered him a brake balance adjustment. It's not in the brake balance. So you can change that all you want. It's got to do with the line, the steering, the way you load up the outside front. And so, yeah, there's some of the pieces that I wanted to show you. I guess one of the biggest ones is whenever we see these long corners cropping up, like there's one in Spain, there's one in Qatar, there's heaps here in Netherlands and Hungary, then that's where we see Max start to struggle. Remember Spain this year, he made 3 pit stops, I think, and he was in very early for his first and second pit stop because he ran out of front tires again. So for Max,
it's not like in the Roger example, that was costing him Grand Slams, championships, call it. But with Max, you would argue it's not. This weakness is not costing him championships because it's only Hungary, Netherlands where this shows up in the long corners, a constant radius, and then you got one in Spain, one in Qatar, one in Silverstone. It's not the end of the world. And Max is so good in so many other areas, as I keep saying, that it's not like it hasn't cost him a championship yet. But I'm just monitoring like at when is Max going to change this technique, adapt to it? Does he know about it? Has anyone explained to him? I think Gianni was correct in pointing it out, but he couldn't do the cause and effect, like why and how it works. He couldn't he was unable to convince Max that that was the right thing to do, even though he was absolutely spot on. Stephen, what's your question here? Do you think Max has been stagnant in his driving style development due to always beating his teammates, irregardless of whether he has a good or bad race? Yeah, it certainly doesn't help. I mean, Max is probably quicker than his teammates in these corners as well, or he doesn't even look at their data because they're so far behind. Like if a Liam Lawson or a Perez or an Albon or whatever is 1.7 seconds off, you're not even going to waste your time looking at the data. You should look and say, is there any corner on the track that these guys are doing better than me? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, which corner is that and why? But I think, yeah, having a stronger teammate. But then you've also got to remember that not many drivers on the grid actually demonstrating the tight line technique at the moment. Charles, yes. Lewis, sometimes. That's about it. So even if he has a mad teammate like a George or an Oscar lost pole due to this exact technique last time out, last race weekend. So even if it was like Max and Oscar as teammates, Oscar's a great driver, still wouldn't show up with Oscar. Even if it was Max and Lando, Max and George still wouldn't show up. He would have to have like Charles and look at Charles's technique in that corner and be like, what's going on there in that particular corner? Why is Charles swallowing me like 1.5 tenths? Why over 15 laps is Charles's front tire in so much better condition than mine? Maybe in those circumstances it would click, but with the teammates he had and that there's such a small pool of drivers to pick from that actually are aware of this technique, then, you know, he's not going to. But there's been a few, like when I put all the pieces together, like the Silverstone front end, the front tire issues, you know, what Gianni said, when I put them all together in 30 minutes like that, it's very obvious. But when you spread these pieces of evidence out over the past 3 or 4 years, which is how Max sees them, sees maybe one in 2022 somewhere, maybe it pops up again in 2023 here and 24 here. These examples only pop up every year or so. It's not enough for Max to be able to be like, oh, there's an issue there. That's what I think anyway. Rosa, he doesn't trust that he will gain lower lap time from their recommendations. Yeah, 100%. Because I think, yeah, Gianni's spot on, but I think he didn't also explain like, this is the theory why. And I'm going to do that now for you guys. That leads me nicely into the next point. Andrew Shovlin talks about, and I showed you guys this last time, but I want to play it again because repetition is how you learn. Even how I learn, I want to hear this again from Shovlin. Andrew Shovlin talks about the load transfer on the tires being a problem for cornering grip, and basically says the more load transfer you have, the less lateral capacity the tire can offer you. And what controls load transfer? The steering wheel. You guys know the steering wheel, that I don't look at it anymore as it turns the front tires and tells you where to go. The steering wheel for me now is just a weight management tool. And so when you sweep in from the edge of the track and turn in, you're exaggerating that load transfer and you're reducing the lateral capacity from the tires. Let me bring it up for you guys now. And yeah, we'll try to understand how you get lower lap time from the tight line.
Now, we then need to think about how the tyre actually generates cornering force as a function of that load. And that is a very non-linear characteristic. So here we have our axis cornering force, and here we have the vertical load. So as you're going in a straight line, you might have for instance, both front tyres generating the same or seeing the same vertical load. And if they kept that vertical load in a cornering condition, they'd both generate the same cornering force. But because of that transfer, what happens is the outside one moves to a higher vertical load, the inside one moves to a lower vertical load, and the amount gained on one is the amount that you reduce from the other. But because of the non-linearity, you've lost a lot of cornering force potential on that inside tyre, and you've only gained a small amount on the outside. The sum of those two is less. Lots of load transfer on an axle reduces its grip potential.
That's amazing from Shov. And now that I hear that back again for the second or third time, I think it's the third time I've heard that. That's the engineering explanation for why the tight line works. So he's basically saying, if there's no load transfer, then you're here in the center. But because of the load transfer, then the outside front, it's like a glass of water that's approaching getting full. The outside front cannot offer you any more lateral capacity, whereas the inside front loses lateral capacity due to that load transfer. So this is exactly the reason why Max struggles in long corners of constant radius. This is exactly the reason why Oscar didn't get pole in Hungary. Long corner of constant radius, sweeping in from the edge of the track. I'll bring it up for you guys again, the image. That's exactly the reason why, the engineering reason why Oscar didn't get pole in Hungary. Why he didn't win that race, because he wasn't on pole. And then imagine how much it snowballs, right? Imagine what this is worth. Oscar would like to know about the tight line. Like, it's worth heaps, guys, heaps. Questions. Florina, first time I've seen you here. Welcome. Do you think the 26 regulation can realistically bring Lewis back in contention if the Ferrari has a decent car? Lovely question, Florina. Yes, I've answered this question before in a video or a few times throughout my channel. You might not have come across it if you're new here. I said, like, at the moment they're like this, and Lewis needs to bend in a little bit as well, and the 26 regulations are going to help bend a little bit as well. But in order for them to meet in the middle and get optimum performance, Lewis also needs to do his part, I think, as well. I think the regulations are going to help in the sense that the cars are slightly lighter, slightly smaller. That's great. That means that Lewis is not going to get the snaps that he normally gets. But I think Lewis is also going to need to come to the party as well. He can't just hang on to his normal driving style and expect the regulations. Like, someone hands you a new tennis racket, you've also got to be. And why would you not want to be? Why would you not want to adapt as well? I think Lewis should be doing everything to do his part to bend. And if the regulations bend or don't bend, whatever happens, happens. I think Lewis should definitely be doing his part as well. Divination. I think I understand that clip now. Exactly. So I had to listen to it a few times as well. Actually, I listened to it 3 times with you guys, but I think I've listened to it about 20 times by myself, trying to understand what the hell he's on about. But makes sense now. Basically, the weight transfer, the load transfer across reduces the overall capacity of the car, which is really interesting. So it's like load transfer in that case is not favorable. Okay, cool. Can we move on? I'll take a few questions in a minute as well. Compounds. Come on, guys. Compounds is an important one this weekend. Let's have a look and see what we've got. All right. Hopefully you can see that on the screen in front of you. I'll read it out. For the race in Netherlands, Pirelli have gone a step softer in terms of compounds. The teams will have a choice of C2 as a hard, C3 as a medium, C4 as the soft, whereas in 24, it was C1, C2, C3. Okay, so now we're down to C4. That's fine. The aim of increasing the likelihood of strategy. Okay, fine. The guys are finally working out that 2-stop races can be a little bit more intriguing than 1-stop races. Finally, F1's so slow to work some of these things out, aren't they? Like, it's crazy. I've been saying for a while, I think the best thing from a strategic point of view, from a regulation point of view for the sport is just make it so that you have to use all 3 compounds in the race. So if you've got given a C2, C3 and C4 this weekend, you should have to use them all at some point in the race. That's going to make for mad racing because some guys will be better on the soft, some guys will be better on the hard. It has to be a 2-stop.
you have to, work with that tire, whether you like it or not. Everyone has to spend time on that tire. I think that would be the way to go. And then they start bringing in the mandatory 2-stop for Monaco. Like, yeah, I don't know why they just don't do simple rules like that. Like, we've got 3 tires, you have to use them all in the race. So anyway, so they're bringing softer compounds. They're making the pit lane quicker. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily going to help on this track. We'll see, because this track's aero wash heaven, not a big straight and so on. It's going to be tricky. But anyway, that's what we got. It's a step in the right direction. But, we get these here and there. They're not like, this is not a baked in regulation that we're going to get next weekend. This is what happened last year. It was a 1-stop. They started on the medium, went to the hard. Yeah, Max was hammered last year as well, guys, if you remember, in terms of lap time. Like, as these stints unfolded, Lando started to get the upper hand quite a lot. We need to talk about restarts as well. Let's go over to the whiteboard for a sec. Yeah, we need to talk about restarts because this is very important. This cost Lando dinner big time in Spa. So we need to talk about where the best place is to open a safety car restart. While I'm drawing it out, why don't you guys let me know in the chat, where do you guys think the best place would be to restart the Grand Prix if you are in the lead? Let me know in the chat. I have got my eyes on a corner. Hopefully you guys too. This one's pretty straightforward if you ask me. But it can be deceiving, can be tricky. I'll take a question while you guys let me know which corner to kick the race off from if you are the race leader. Florina, why is the Ferrari car such a mess? Well, hang on. It got pole last time out. How much higher than the rest must it be set to not have its plank weight? Yeah, look, I don't know the details of all that, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm being cheeky when I say it got pole last time out. It did, but I'm obviously cherry picking the data. I don't know. That's an engineering question. I'm not. Yeah, you've come to a driver coaching channel, so I'm not sure. Not sure why they're in this mess. Okay, you guys are smashing the chat with questions with the corners. Alpha 12 and 13. Yeah, obviously it's going to be down there somewhere because your little safety car's trekking in and he's going to enter the pit lane and you're around here somewhere. So yes, come on, place your bets. Turn 10. Oh, turn 10 is one I didn't think of. That would be interesting. Hey, wow, imagine starting the race at turn 10. I didn't think of turn 10 because that means you need to start slowing down around here. Slow down, slow down, slow down. The safety car's off the hook, going around. And then, if you kick the race off at turn 10, there's quite a big risk that you're actually going to meet the safety car. So if you floor it out of here and the safety car's here, you might catch this thing by the end of the straight. Turn 10 is a good choice because of the corner type. But I'm not sure I'd go with that one because it's hard to know this. Hard to know where the safety car is going to be and whether or not you're going to run into it down the pit straight. That would be a problem. Turn 10 a little bit early for me, but not a bad corner type. A lot of variety in the answers. I got 13s, 11 and 12s, 13 and 14s, 12s, 13s, 11s. Wow. Should have done a poll so we can see. Isn't there a rule where they can restart in the driver's precinct? No. It's totally up to the driver. When he goes, that's it. The only rule is don't hit the safety car down the pit straight and you can't overtake before the start-finish line. Got to be 12. Got to be 12. I reckon you're spot on there, BOG. Yeah, it's got to be turn 12, surely. Because if you come through 13, it's clear now. Like, you have to go and you're on the straight and very easy, very predictable for the other car to follow. Whereas if you go out of turn 12, you got to remember you're the first person to see that straight between 12 and turn 13. So that's what I'm interested in. You're the first person to come around this turn 12 corner, come around here and open the steering wheel and open your eyes to this straight. Meanwhile, P2, I'll draw P2 in, say, green, he's still here with the steering wheel turned. So he kind of sees you disappear and then has to wait a little bit to open the steering wheel and go. So I think you're going to pull a beautiful little car length or two here. And then by attacking the final corner, high speed entry, you're going to aero wash your friend as well through here for good measure. It's going to be hard for them to react to this situation at turn 12 and then follow closely in 13. It's actually quite a powerful place to kick the race off. So I'm all in, guys. Turn 12. Who got 12? Carl Webster got 12. Pepsi scrolls 12 to open up the wheel early. I reckon that's the way to go. Yasuk 12 and then aero wash down 12. Yeah, exactly. I reckon that's the way to go. 12. Stephen, actually 12. You guys are funny. Cool. Awesome. I think that's as clear cut as like that is as clear cut as you're going to get in terms of where to kick the race off. Normally it's a little bit more challenging. You've got a few more things to consider, but I reckon that in the event of a safety car, if you are the lead car, you want to slow down that back straight, that DRS zone between turn 10 and 11. And then you want to kick the race off, as you guys are saying, in turn 12. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a few questions down. I'm just going to take a break, grab some water, write your questions for me in the chat. They can be about anything that I've said. And we'll take them in about 2 minutes. I'll be back in a sec. Alrighty, let's have a look, see what questions you guys have got. Wow, there's quite a lot here. Okay, give me a sec. I'll start with this one. Jordan says, hi Martin, how has your summer been? Unfortunately, it's not summer for me. I'm on the southern side of the globe, southern hemisphere, and it's been freezing. But in terms of the break, I'm in Perth, Australia, by the way. In terms of the break, really good. Got a chance to get the KZ kart back out. If you guys have seen Kimi Antonelli's story, he was also doing a bit of KZ action during the break. I think that's the way to go. And yeah, loved it. Got a lot of bruises. Posted it on my my Instagram, Lower Lap Time. So if you have a chance to jump over there and have a look, it was super fun. Had to run the engine in the morning, do a few sessions. But yeah, it was good to get back into that because I haven't had much time and karting is quite time intensive. That's it really. Bit of cooking, bit of exercise. Again, it's cold here, so I'm waiting for my summer break to come. Lorena says, is your goal to work in F1? I think at the moment, this sounds really weird to say, but I think at the moment I can add a lot of value to the drivers in F1. I just think there's a lot of opportunity out there. You only need to look at the qualifying in the last race to see the opportunity for Oscar in the final corner, the strategy that Oscar did, Lando's restart in Spa. We're only going back 2 races and there's plenty of opportunity. Max's front tire life. I think there's so much opportunity for the drivers that I could help. Whether or not it's my goal, no, I wouldn't say it's my goal. I'm happy where I am at the moment, and I think there's value there if they want, but I wouldn't say it's my goal. I'm happy sharing the knowledge with the world at the moment on YouTube, and whoever wants it can have it. Give me a sec. More questions. Florina again, which driver would you like to work with then in the top 3? It's a good question because I'd work with them all on very different things. So with Charles, he's got the tight line covered. I wouldn't work with him on that. But Charles's attack and defense doesn't strike me as being the best on the grid. I'd like to sharpen that up, for example. With Lewis, there's a lot of work I think needs to be done with Lewis at the moment, unfortunately. Mindset side, technique, just understanding what's been going wrong. With Max, it would be front tire life. With other drivers, it would just be like lap time. Like if I was working with anyone in the second Red Bull car, it'd be technical. So I don't have a personal favorite, like who I'd like to work with or anything. It would just be like, okay, who am I with? This is how I would look at it. Who am I with? Where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? Let them explain to them why that's a strength of theirs and why that's a weakness of theirs, and then rectify the weaknesses and come out and do the whole back ends that Roger was doing, right? I think that would be the goal. So sorry, I don't have anyone really. I don't know if you've answered this before, but do you see any more tracks that the McLaren might struggle with? Yeah, good question. The McLaren is very good in front grip with the whole anti-dive. So these types of corners, it's going to absolutely swallow. It's going to love Netherlands. Spain, it loved it, front grip. probably anywhere where like that downforce and front grip is not that significant, like maybe Monza, it'll be closer. Maybe. I hope. I mean, it's a good car. It's a very, very capable car. So it's hard to, it doesn't have many weaknesses. Sometimes in the top speed, it's not that present, but it's always a quick car. It's a great racing car. So I think the guys back at the MTC, like Peter Projomo and Rob Marshall and those guys, yeah, those are the real heroes for me. What is your opinion on Esteban Ocon's mindset mentality? I haven't glossed over it to the extent that I have with Lando's and Oscars and, you know, the guys at the front. It seemed stronger when he came into the sport. It was like, I'm here to win and this and that. And now it's like, you know, Behrman's out qualifying him a bit. I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't followed it that closely, but if I can just give you my very early insight, it seemed a little bit stronger and better when he was younger and more fiery. And I'm not sure that the same desire and killer instinct is still there. Again, that's very elementary analysis from me, but if I'm honest, I haven't looked at it a lot. Barbara, do you have some comments on Gasly? Could it be that he's going to RB? Do you think his confidence driving will improve if the rumors are true? It's interesting, like if he goes to Red Bull after being sacked there from doing a not good job. And I think this is the problem with Red Bull is that they're just throwing drivers in that seat without the right preparation, like driver coaching essentially. Now that Gasly's survived that, probably learnt, can come back. Same with Albon, for example, as well. Lawson maybe in a few years. Yeah, these guys could come back in and do quite well. I think so at this point. But how many second chances do you get in F1? It's tricky. It's a tricky question. If he got in, I think he would do fine. But has he already had his chance? I'm not sure. But yeah, he's driving really well at the moment. Very nicely. Jordan Hill. So your goal is eventually to be able to be a driver coach in F1. Well, similar to the first question, it's not my goal. It's not my goal. I would like to. I think there's more value that they can get from me than I could get in monetary value, for example. Like, what would it be worth for Oscar to take pole last weekend? To him, to Oscar. Millions, billions, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's worth a lot. The knowledge is worth a lot. What would it be worth for Lando to kick the race off in the correct place and in the Belgium GP restart? A lot. Like, it's worth a lot. So like for me, it wouldn't be like, what do I get out of it? I think they would get a lot out of it. So therefore it's not my goal because I'm not sure what I would get out of it, to be honest. Rules. Here we go. Rules about safety car restart. After the SC enters the pits, P1 can accelerate at any time at their discretion to resume racing speeds. This is often done strategically to surprise trailing drivers or optimize tyre warm-up. Very true. I don't see anything there that prevents us from kicking off where we want to kick off. Pepsi scrolls, similar question to what I asked before, but since you started your channel, has any F1 driver changed their driving style, independent of you or maybe because something you've said? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think any drivers watch my channel. So I think I can rule that one out. So I've seen drivers change their styles. For example, Lewis has been changing a little bit, I think in the wrong direction. Like you saw in the Spain turn 12 example, I think he needs to go more in the direction of Leclerc than Max or Lando. So I've seen changes. I don't think due to if they were listening to my channel, we would see a change in Max's technique, for example. But they're not. They're playing golf. Rosa, who is winning the Cadillac head-to-head next year, Bottas or Perez? Ooh, good question. That's a good question. I haven't thought about that at all. I'm bad with these predictions, by the way. I always get them wrong, terribly wrong. Like, I think Albon signs I got terribly wrong, but then Albon came out and said, oh yeah, I'm working with this new driver coach. He's really helping me. And I'm thinking, okay, that's good to know. But where was that last year? So yeah, I'm going to go with Bottas because I think technically he's a little bit, Bottas is very cluey. So I think if they run into trouble, let's say the car doesn't handle well or they got some issues they got to sort out, I think Bottas will find solutions quicker. That's all. Not to say he's like a better driver, he's more talented, or he's got better feel or anything like that. When things aren't right, Bottas will find a solution. It's very cluey, very switched on, very smart guy. Not to say Checo's not smart, but Valtteri is very switched on. What's your opinion on Hadjar not wanting to go to Red Bull? That's a good question too, because you're essentially saying, well, it's a chance in a top team. Do you take it? And, you know, you only live once, go for it, take the opportunity to shine. Sure, that would be great. Or do you look at it from the perspective, oh, that's not a good seat. Everyone that's been in that seat has struggled. That car is not designed for anyone other than Max. Like, which view do you take? Yeah, I would not go. I mean, what's the need to go? The whatever it's called now, the V-Carb or Toro Rosso, what's it called now? Racing Bulls? Is it Racing Bulls? That car's fine. So, like, it's not necessary. You would only go if it's like a McLaren. You know, if that's the case, then go. But in the current case of the Red Bull, there's no need to go. What are you going to go there for? It's like, yeah. Do you think that sorry, John, do you think the drivers would also know this strategy, turn 12 is the one to go? No, because we did this same exercise. We do it every live stream. And in Belgium, have a look at where Lando kicked the race off. He kicked the race off before the final chicane, ended up losing a lot of battery down there. Have a look at the Belgium Grand Prix and the Belgium live stream, even some of the Belgium race review, my Belgium race review. They're not watching, so they won't know, I guess. Or they're not doing their own preparation. I mean, you don't have to watch me to get the answer. You just talk about it. It's got to just be an open dialogue that you do. It's the preparation that's going to get you through. So if they're talking about it before the weekend, they would have worked it out, but they're not. So they won't know. And Spa is your best example of that. Yeah. Yasuki, I thought you lived in Europe. No, I'm in Perth, Australia. That's great to hear. Awesome. Any more questions? Bob, who do you think has the edge on this track? Lando or Oscar, by how much and why? Ooh, good one again. I tried to answer this by saying, well, the track's got a lot to do with the front end. Lando's been struggling with the front end, but we saw in Hungary, Lando very quick in long corners of constant radius, which we have a lot here. So I was trying to say, I'm not sure, like Oscar out-qualified Lando in Hungary, but then Lando was quick in the long corners. I don't know, they're very evenly matched this year. It might just come down to pressure, in which case Oscar is better. If it comes down to pressure and Oscar is better than Oscar, but if Lando can kind of, you know, keep it together, I think there is, you know, ever so slightly more lap time in Lando, but it's just whether or not he can dig into it and extract it. I'm not sure. I don't have a good answer for you at the moment. It'll be close. That's all. There's a few more I'll take for a couple of minutes and then we'll wrap up. Hi, madam. What about the 2026 regs? I mean, with the higher top speeds, I think driving styles are going to change a lot with the energy recovery and deployment and less downforce as well. Yeah, with less downforce overall, you just need to be more progressive with all of your inputs. So if you imagine in a really high downforce situation, like you're tearing down a pitch straight at 350 and you've got heaps of downforce and grip, bang, you can actually just smack the brake pedal as hard and as late as you can. The cars are capable of that. But now with less downforce, you can't do that. You've got to introduce the brake pedal very gradually, for example. Now that's a very unique case because most of the time you're turning and braking at the same time, which means you have to be even more gradual. So I would say just more progression with all of the inputs. And so that's not one of Lewis's strengths. Lewis is very hard, late braking. So yeah, but so that won't help him, the less downforce because less grip. But what might help him is the smaller cars, lighter weight as well. That might help him. So yeah, just more progressive. I don't know about the whole manual override thing. That's very artificial to me. I'm not a big fan of it. I've always thought that, yeah, if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know my philosophy on that. I've always thought that if you're getting penalized in aero wash, that is, you're getting penalized in downforce, mid-corner downforce, by following another car, the turbulent air, the aero wash. Don't you want to be paid back in extra grip through the corner? Why do you get paid back in DRS or paid back in extra battery? These are all things you don't want or need. What you want is mid-corner downforce to be able to follow. So I've been saying, well, instead of DRS opening, why don't we have like front wing, like the total opposite? Additional front wing in the middle of the corner when you need it most. Front and or rear wing. So you can have a normal setting or an extra downforce in the middle of the corner to be able to follow closely. And then that negates the effect of aero wash. And then you can attack down the straights as per normal. It's going to be a completely organic overtake. But I'm not a big fan of this battery stuff. Yeah. Lighter cars, 30 kilos, less than 5%. Yeah, it's a small change. It's something. All right. Last question. Who's got it? And last question is Steven Sabino. The delta between Lando and Oscar last year in Zandvoort was pretty big. Do you perhaps have any clips from 2024 practice race quali comparing the driving technique to see where Oscar's deficit is? That's a good question, but I would just like, in my mind, it's not that relevant for two reasons. The MCL39 with the new McLaren with the anti-dive front end is completely different to last year's. It's so different that Lando's had to readapt his whole style, and it's suited Oscar fairly naturally. And so when you frame it that way, the 24 and everything, I don't think it matters that much at the moment. I think the most recent relevant one is Hungary, long corners, 2025. What happened? They were very close. Lando was quicker in some long corners. When it came to the crunch, Oscar got that lap together. It could be something like that. So whilst we could look and have a look, I don't think it's going to be that relevant, even though it's only last year, same track and everything. That change that they made to the anti-dive at the front end, very powerful change. So that's why it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's going to be close. It's a short lap, so of course it's going to be very close. But if I had to put money somewhere, I'd go Lando over Oscar, just because of what I've seen in the long corners in Hungary. And Oscar taking those wide entries, I'm going to go Lando, but on a very low confidence. Like, please don't quote me on that come Friday or Saturday. Alrighty, guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Just to give you guys a quick summary and some things to look out for. Max's front tire wear is going to be a big story. The McLaren's in qualifying is going to be a big story. The rain, if it comes, the short corners that you want to drive in the rain could be a big story. The strategy with the softer compounds and increased pit lane speed limit could be a big story as well. Ferrari have apparently brought the floor to help with Lewis's rear instability, presumably. And yeah, so those are the sort of things that I'll be looking out for this weekend. Hope you can guys join me, watch all the videos, the analysis for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I will see you there for the next live stream as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.